When I was 29, the sales company I worked for went out of business, and I had a few days off to think over what I wanted to do. And my neighbor, who worked in construction, offered me a job, at least temporarily, he said, working for him. That was 40 years ago. I immediately fell in love with building. I was both infatuated and possessed. I worked 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. Woke up in the middle of the night thinking about what I was doing, reading books, looking in old libraries. When I do the math, thinking about 40 years, that many hours, it means that I have somewhere between 80 and 100,000 hours in at my craft. There's a modern notion that mastery is something that can be achieved at 10,000 hours. And I disagree with that because I think mastery is a mountain with no top. It's the pursuit of perfection and the pursuit of beauty. And you never really get there. So 10,000 hours, no, that implies that there's an end, and there's never an end. And it's about the journey anyway. It's not about the destination. They recently restored the Mona Lisa, and when they started looking at it deeply and layer after layer of paint, they eventually realized that Da Vinci had carried this painting around with him for 20 years and had kept making changes over and over again. Da Vinci wouldn't quit, and that brings me to another important point about mastery. There's a notion that mastery is a function of a genius, and I don't believe that's true. I think mastery is a function of persistence. I believe everyone has a gift. And by that, I don't mean something that we individually possess, but rather something that we have to gift to others, something we have to contribute. When you start asking yourself what is unique about you and what you have to contribute to those around you, the question of purpose automatically springs up. What do I have to contribute? What's my purpose? I believe that these two questions, contribution and purpose, are the two cornerstones of mastery. As a metaphor, I look at them as one is your right leg and the other is your left leg. And if you want to walk down the path to mastery, you have to have a leg to stand on. The moment you stop asking yourself these questions, that's the moment that you wander off the path. I've been speaking very personally and intimately so far, but I think there's a much broader context, and that's why I've decided to do this documentary about the spirit of mastery. I picked the visual arts for several reasons. One is that that's the field that I worked in. Another reason is that you can trace the visual and hand arts back to the beginning of the history of man and right up until today. There is a continuity of contribution, of purpose, of heart, of persistence that we can see in all of these things, from the cave paintings to Greek sculptures to Da Vinci and Botticelli, Gothic cathedrals, Picasso, the arts and crafts furniture of Green and Green, and up until the artist of today, there is continuity. Another aspect of this type of work is that it's all in interplay with the physical universe, whether it's wood or clay or steel or glass. There is an old saying that the hand lies between the heart and the mind. The Industrial Revolution brought about the machine, and the machine seemed to place itself between the physical universe and our lives. Now we appear to be in a technological revolution. So far, nobody is saying that the punch press lies between the heart and the mind, and hopefully, 100 years from now, nobody's going to be saying that the algorithm lies between the heart and the mind. So please enjoy these conversations about the spirit of mastery, and be inspired.
I'm Andrew Johnstone. I'm from Scotland, so I've never had a real job. Leaving university, I was apprenticed under a man called William Holgate, who was he wasn't the best decorative artist in the world. He was the best decorative artist in the world for 150 years. The man was a legend, and I started working for him and became his apprentice and was with him for just over 6 years before I come into the States. Okay. So I was at university and I had to do a final year paper. So I wanted to do it on decorative arts. First of all, I had a bit of pushback from the university. My painting teacher said, you know, decorative arts, he says, it's not fine arts, it's a craft. I said, well, you know, the Sistine Chapel is a piece of decorative art, and it's the single most important piece of Western art. He was, okay, you may have a point. So I got involved with murals, and fresco painting, and graining and marbling. That was the trade. At that time, that was Bill Holgate.
My name is Armelle Leroux. I'm from Brittany, France, and I live in Auckland for 20 years.
And what's your craft?
My craft is primarily a stained glass artist, but also a master glass painter. And I divide my work into two categories: creation of new project, architectural pieces, and conservation and restoration of stained glass windows.
Where did you get your education?
I got my education in Paris and actually studied art according to environment, which wasn't directly linked to stained glass, but allowed me to have a basic understanding of art according to architecture. So it involved training in fresco, in ceramic art, in painting, textile design, and also there were short studies. It allowed me to create concept and being able to fulfill ideas to the finished product.
Did you work with that? Obviously, if you studied in Paris, there was mastery all around you, from down to the centuries.
Yes.
So what impact? That was different than growing up in Des Moines, Iowa, for example. That you're surrounded by history and beauty and art. What was that like, being in that environment?
In Paris, especially as an art student and being very young, coming from the country, you're constantly amazed by the little street, the cobblestone, but then also you start noticing while you get educated about it, all those details, the gargoyle, the doors, the urban landscape, but also the frescoes, and so you're in constant stimulation, especially if it's linked to what you're studying. And of course, as art student, the museum were open to us as well, so we will be definitely diving into that whole thing.
My home environment when I was a kid was a little, it was problematic for me. And I think woodworking probably saved my butt. I started woodworking when I was 13. I understood this way more than other people did. It's just something that just innately made sense to me. How things get done, how things work, what you have to do to get to a particular goal with woodworking, or how things are made. And it really meant a lot to me on an emotional level. It was really important to me. I mean, it gave me, or just making things in general, it was kind of a place to go where everything made sense. And I was really good at it.